Why is it that I like to do these trails? Over 6 years, I've spent 450 nights or something camping. That in that time, I've hiked almost 11,000 miles. I think the answer is as cliche as it gets, and it is freedom. You know, coming out here and being out here in these environments and just everyday walking, and you know, you can camp where you want, you can eat when you want, you don't really have any obligations. I think being on these mountaintops and just feeling so alone, it is a very freeing experience. You know, out here, I'm carrying a little backpack, which I have maybe like 20 to 25 things in it, and that's it. That is everything, you know, and it is very liberating to carry so little and to still be able to put yourself through so much. I think also just the inherent risk in doing anything like this. And then the more free you are, the less you bring, the more risk you're adding on to your own plate. That if something were to go wrong, you better know how to deal with that. It is the most free I've ever felt to be out here doing what I'm doing. And I think that's why I do it year after year. So, I am on my way to Roosevelt Lake. Everything I've ever heard about this place says they are not friendly to hikers. However, every comment and remark I'm reading now is saying that super friendly to hikers. You know, I think I read something that Roosevelt Lake has like 120 miles of shoreline, and seems pretty cool. But yeah, excited for Roosevelt Lake. Definitely a cool looking place.
Though Roosevelt Lake and the Four Peaks are very iconic to Arizona, there's something else special that is approaching quickly. The halfway point of this trail. Halfway across Arizona, which is, to me, probably one of the biggest pieces of this puzzle. Not today, but as my pace quickens, these milestones are coming faster. Every day when I crest some new mountain pass and get to look back on where I was, the land seems so familiar and still so foreign. I walked down that road, through that canyon or valley. I was on top of that peak. The next day comes, and it's an entirely different view. Foreign, yet familiar. I think that's one of the most special aspects of doing trips like these. You no longer need to wonder what is over that next horizon. Everything within sight suddenly becomes within walking distance. I let my mind wander, my feet move in rhythm. I break the day down into the bare essentials, and before I know it, I'm there. At this point in the trail, I no longer feel like I'm still becoming that thru hiker. I have now deeply found a groove of my own. The Arizona Trail has been a treat, unlike anything I could have imagined. Roosevelt Lake, Four Peaks, and halfway, here I come.
So I picked up my food, got my resupply, and hung out for a couple hours, charged my things a little bit, and I am moving on once again. But Roosevelt Lake sure is a pretty area. Too bad it's a Saturday, and there's people everywhere, so that's no good.
The climb out of Roosevelt Lake is one of the few things I had heard of before starting this trail. It isn't the hardest thing in the world, but it is nearly 20 miles long, entirely uphill. There's very little opportunity for water, if there's water at all, and it's totally exposed to whatever heat, sun, or weather the sky can throw at you. It may go without saying, but I very much look forward to the cool air of sunset and the sound of trickling water far off in the distance. A day hiker mistakes me for someone just out for a short hike and tells me it's not worth continuing forward, that I should turn back, which is, of course, always what you want to hear at the beginning of something like this. I don't really have a choice, so I press on to see for myself.
Climbing out of Roosevelt Lake is a pretty big climb. It's about 20 miles, and It's sort of a 20-mile dry stretch. You know, a lot of seasonal spots for water, but for me, there wasn't any water, so it was a 20-mile dry stretch. And almost entirely climbing. Not the worst climb I've ever done in my life, but also not the easiest climb. So, I just broke my camera lens. My camera's fine, but my lens sure is broken. Beautiful views out here, but my next town stop I think is in 2 days, not including today, so I will grab a new lens then. But for this section, I suppose I'm going to be filming on my phone. You know, it's lessons for the future. I think I'm 34, 35 miles into my day. Feeling pretty good. I don't know how much further I'm gonna go. But the halfway point is in like 5 miles. So I am almost halfway done. It's been great. I've been enjoying the Arizona Trail a lot. I can see that they've put a lot of work into this trail. There's a lot of passion from the organization for the trail, for the land, and for the thru hikers. I'm excited to get to the halfway mark, and in a couple days my girlfriend Lotus will be visiting me in the town of Pine. I'm really excited for that too. I guess where I camped is actually the halfway mark. Just by happenstance. I camped at mile 394 roughly, and yeah, that's halfway. Still, this is nice to see, as always. Mile 400, the smiley face. I recently just left Pine, the town of Pine. My girlfriend Lotus came and visited me, and I kind of Nero'd out. So today I haven't gone too far, but the past 3 days I think I did 33 plus each day. So still making good time and enjoying it and stuff. I'm actually getting pretty close to where I'm living, Flagstaff, Arizona. Probably gonna take a 0 there, my first 0 of the trail, because so far even my Neros are like 20-mile days. What you see over there is the Mogollon Rim. So I think I'm going to be kind of following along the base of that for a little while and then going straight up it. So I have passed mile 500, and as you've seen, or as you can see now, I am in the land of the pine tree. The land of the ponderosa pine. It is wonderful. The trail here is beautiful. The pine trees provide shade. Like, shade isn't something I've experienced in the past 3 weeks or so since I began this trip. But I'm gonna keep moving on and, hopefully find a nice warm spot to camp, given it is so much colder here. So I woke up last night to a familiar feeling. Around 9 p.m. I was being rained on, which not so bad because I got to set up my tarp. I haven't set up my tarp at all this trip so far. So I'm actually pretty happy that I've had the chance to use it. Otherwise, it's just been acting as my pillow. A very expensive pillow. There's like 40 deer over there that are all seemingly really pissed that I'm camping where I'm camping. They're all just staring at me. There's so many. I'm actually coming up on my home of Flagstaff. It's not my original home. I'm originally from Florida, but I've been living in Flagstaff for quite some time now. And it's a pretty fortunate time to be in this area because the forecast isn't looking good. It has been cold, cold, cold since getting up on the Kaibab Plateau, and there's actually quite a few inches of snow on its way. So when I get to town, although I could deal with these types of conditions, I figure what better time to take a zero, because up until now I haven't taken a single zero, and even my Neros aren't really Neros. I'm still doing about 20 miles on my shortest days. So I'm gonna take a day off, wait out the snow, get back on trail, refreshed, revitalized, and ready to head up and over the San Francisco peaks, through the Grand Canyon, and all the way to the Utah border to finish my long walk across the state of Arizona. There's a lot of really amazing stuff coming up, and I can't wait to see it.